kids, welcome to today's session. This is Shweta Roy, your English master teacher at Vedantu, and today we will be analyzing a wonderful poem, A Legend of the Northland. So don't be confused by the word legend. It's not a story, of course it's a poem, and it's from your NCERT text book. Yes, of course, class 9. So let us begin with today's amazing session. First of all, let me clarify certain things which might arouse your interest or which you might actually focus on. First such word is legend. Now what do you mean by legend? Legend means an old story, sometimes having historical basis, so maybe related to something in history, and it is generally passed down from generation to generation, right? So that is what we mean by legend. Take it as an old story. And a legend of what? So a legend of the Northland. So what is all about Northland? Now Northland is actually an area near North Pole. So it's not very much specified, but take it as an area near North Pole, right? So quite interesting. So the very title is actually quite catchy. Northland. It's like, oh my god, Northland is the North Pole. So we have so many, stories coming up in our mind. Yes, first of all, guys, I would like to ask you one very simple question. What is the thing, what idea comes up in your mind when you hear the word Northland? Please write in the chat box right now. Okay, let me tell you one thing that comes in my mind when I actually think about Northland and North Pole. I think of Santa Claus. Yes. So we have been told the story from our very childhood that Santa Claus comes from North Pole riding in his reindeer. So how many of you agree with me? Please do write in the chat box right now. And with that, we will move ahead with today's amazing session. Let's move ahead with the poem. A gentle reminder to all of you, my lovely students, if you still haven't subscribed to Vedantu Pro subscription, then this is the time, guys. Use the teacher code SWRPRO. The link is there in the description box. Using the teacher code would definitely enable you to get the discount price of 2699. And we have, yes, of course, follow these steps. First of all, select grade, select target, get subscription, and then finally step 4, choose your plan. So tick on 1 month, click on 1 month, and you can just try for 1 month and get a wonderful experience right with us in Vedantu. So join us, be a part of our Vedantu family. Yes, apply the coupon code SWRPRO. You will get a discount price of 2699. So let's move ahead, and we have these amazing features which is waiting for just your subscription. So what are you waiting for, guys? Hurry up and subscribe now. Live classes by India's best master teachers, personalized attention in the class, full recordings of all class with notes, assignment, tests, and more. Apart from that, we also have complete curriculum, structured long-term batch in sync with your school curriculum, all chapter-wise micro courses to cover one chapter at a time. Yes, and you will get at least 2 live sessions for every month. Apart from that, you can also revise the entire syllabus, which is your crash course. And you also have the freedom to choose your own study plan and curriculum. You have test series, assignments, learning material, and regular performance reports. So what else, guys? Everything is waiting just for your subscription. And with that, we start with our amazing poem, A Legend of the Northland. So first of all, let me tell you guys, this is a ballad. Now you will ask me, ma'am, what is a ballad? So ballad is, you can say that it is a part of a popular culture, right? And it is mainly passed on orally. Okay, it's a part of the popular culture or the folk culture which is passed on orally. That is a ballad. And yes, it tells a story in a, it's a poem, but definitely ballad tells a story. Okay, And this poem has 16 stanzas and it tells a story in 16 stanzas. And of course, the story is of Northland, right? So we have divided the session into two parts. Sorry, actually three parts. The third part is Menti, doubt clearing Menti. And these two parts are part 1 and part 2, in which part 1 would analyze, this session is part 1 where I'm going to analyze the 8 stanzas, okay, all together. And the next part, that is part 2, would analyze the later half of the poem from stanza 8 to stanza 16. And that would, complete the entire poem. So let's move ahead without further ado. The poet is Phoebe Cary. She is an American poetess and the younger sister of poetess Alice Cary. Okay, and these sisters, they co-published poems in 1849, and then each of them, they again went on to publish their own volumes of poems. And after their death, the joint anthologies of these sisters, in 1871, unpublished poems were also compiled. So in this anthology, the poems which were unpublished were together compiled. So that was all about Phoebe Cary, and now we will see the poem. And I am also going to read out the stanza so that you can relate to it. So let me read out the stanza, first stanza. And the first stanza says, away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few, and the nights are so long in winter that they cannot sleep them through. So you all know the weather of Northland, right? North Pole. So start imagining North Pole. Definitely you will be transported to North Pole, right? So yes, it is that region where where the hours of day are few. Definitely, you know that you must have studied in your geography that the earth has a geoid shape, not a perfect round, right? If you have studied in geography, in physics, I hope you have studied this already, that it has a very peculiar shape. It's not a perfect round, right? The shape is called geoid, right? So when the sun rays fall on the surface of earth, the equator receives the maximum. So this is the sun, and suppose this is the earth. So the sun rays falling on the earth, definitely the central part will receive the direct rays of the sun, right? So that is the equatorial region. And the polar regions, the North Pole and the South Pole, receives the slanting rays. We have all done this in our geography classes, right? So definitely, if the slanting rays are, if the North Pole and the South Pole is, both the poles are receiving the slanting rays, so definitely the hours, daytime would be definitely shortened, right? So that is what the poet is saying in this very first stanza. And of course, this pole, because of the receiving of the slanting rays, they experience winter season, right? And the duration of night is very long. The duration of daytime is, very short. So be thankful that we do not live in the polar region, because it's very difficult to live in these areas. It's extreme temperature. You get the slanting rays. So obviously winters will be very harsh, right? And be thankful India it has a very suitable weather condition. So it's very difficult to survive in those regions, North Pole and all, right? So that's what the first stanza says. And next, we will move ahead. Okay, they cannot sleep them through. So we can see over here that the people of North Pole, right? They refers to the people of North Pole, that region, right? And the duration of night time is so long that people are facing problem in sleeping. So how many of you, by the way, love sleeping? I really love sleeping. I actually crave for getting sleep, right? So people who actually love sleeping would relate to it, that you want the nights to be longer. Actually, I am a night owl, basically, frankly speaking. So night owls, give me a high five. So I can stay awake till a very long time, actually 4, yes. So guys, please do mention in the chat box till how much long can you stay awake at night. I am not at all advocating this. This is not at all a good habit, and I am trying my best, level best, to change this habit. So yes, guys, also I would request you to change this habit along with me. So I actually want that time to be a little more long so that I can sleep a little more, right? So the poet says that in this time period, the night becomes so long that people are tired sleeping them through. That means they cannot sleep the entire night because the night duration is too long, right? So that's what the poet is actually emphasizing in the line 4. Now it is question time. Which country or countries do you think the Northland refers to? Yes, please comment in the comment box. And now we will see stanza 2, and you can see reindeer, you can see Santa. So try imagining. Okay, so now we will see where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows. So can you feel the Christmas spirit? I can feel the Christmas spirit. What about you all? Okay, and the children look like bear cubs in their funny furry clothes. So Northland region experiences, as I told you, severe cold condition, and reindeer, you all know who the reindeers are. So if you don't know, you can watch this picture, and the reindeers are pulling the sledges, right? And the children look like bears, small bears, because they are wearing furry clothes, okay? And the fur is of course made from the skin of bear, and definitely they look like bear, they resemble bear. So how do the children look like in the fur? This is the question that you need to answer, and please post your answer in the comment section. Stanza 3 says, let me read out the third stanza, and let me they tell them a curious story. I don't believe it's true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. Now the poet is saying that in this region where people experience this kind of weather condition, where people cannot even sleep the whole night because of the long duration of night, in such a region, they refers to the parents over here, and them refers to the children, okay? So the elders of the Northland region tell a strange story, an interesting story. So how many of you over here have heard amazing stories, bedtime stories told by your mother or your grandmother or any of your elders? Well, when I was a kid, I was told, actually I used to, constantly ask my grandmom to actually narrate bedtime stories, even my mom. So yes, I heard a lot of bedtime stories, and my grandmom actually tells me, keeps telling me even now, that I had to cook so many stories to satisfy you, and you were never satisfied. So how many of you have had the same experience? Kindly write in the comment section. I would definitely love to hear your stories, right? So the poet says that he doesn't think that the story is true, but yes, we can learn a lesson from it. So basically you can take as a moral story, right? So because this story gives an important message. So now let us see what is all about the story. So now we will enter into the story phase, and that story is going to be really interesting. So now let's enter about let's see what story the parents of this land tell the grandchildren and the children, right? So let's see. First of all, the question for you is, what do the old people tell the children? Very simple. Please do comment in the chat box and the comment section. Stanza 4. Once, when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it, preaching just as he did, So now the story begins, right? Now, who is the main character in the story? first of all, we come across Saint Peter. Now he says that when, the poet says that when Saint Peter used to live in the world, so the story goes like this. He gave religious lectures to the people, like all saints, right? And then an incident occurred, right? Stanza 5. He came to the door of a cottage in traveling around the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. Now let's see what he has to say. First of all, tell me who was Saint Peter. And next, we will come to stanza 5. Now, Saint Peter was moving around the world, giving religious lectures, and suddenly he entered a cottage, right? And where was what was happening in the cottage? There was a small woman who was making cake. She was baking cake in the fireplace. So that is the hearth, right? So she was making what? She was making cake. So hearth is a fireplace basically where you do the cooking. So that's the story, and the question is, where did Saint Peter reach? Very simple question. Stanza 6. As Saint Peter, okay, let me read the stanza. And being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked her from her store of cakes to give him a single one. So Saint Peter asked the woman who was baking cake, since he was feeling very hungry and weak, so he asked this lady who was baking cake, because she had baked many cakes, so he asked him for one cake, right, single one, to give him a single one. Now question for you, what did Saint Peter ask the woman? Stanza 7. So she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. Now this woman was very selfish, and she was a miser. You know what's a miser? Conjuice. Okay, so what did she do? First of all, she made a very small cake. Okay, so she made a very little cake, very small cake, but as it baking lay, so as she was baking, she looked at it, and then she again looked at it, and she thought that no, even though the size was very small, but still she thought that this cake is too large to give away. So she actually did not want to give that piece of cake to Saint Peter, right? Stanza 8. Therefore she needed another and still a smaller one. So she thought that cake was too big to be given away. Therefore, she came up with an idea to need another one, to make another one. But it looked, when she turned it over, as large as the first had done. So, what happened? This miser woman, when she completed preparing the next one, okay, the next cake, she thought, no, my God, this is again having the same size like the previous one. So how can I give it? This is again, having the same size, bigger size, too big to be given away, just like the previous one. So this was the first part. So now what happens with that lady and what happens with Saint Peter, we will see in the next session. So we have stopped in a very, very, very amazing and intriguing point, and definitely we are all looking forward to the next session, which is going to come very soon, right? Before ending the session, before calling it a day, I would ask you one simple question. Suppose you were in the place of that lady who was making cake, and Saint Peter comes to you and asks for a piece of cake for free, just like that. So what would you have done if you were in place of that lady? Do comment the answer in the comment section. Your answers would definitely be read out in the next session. So thank you guys. Don't forget to hit the like button and stay tuned, stay subscribed so that you do not miss out on any important notification. Thank you so much. See you again in the next session. I hope you are, waiting eagerly to actually have the suspense revealed. So take care. Goodbye.